Godspeed to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. It laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay on forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is a little bit past 2 p.m. here in the Netherlands, so that's Central European time. Good afternoon, Helle, and good morning, Megan. So I have been busy. Yep. Frocking. Well, so we've finished up, and I didn't actually progress on hat collectors since Monday. So we finished up that row. I'm ready to do roughly 1400 stitches. That won't happen in today's live stream, even if I wanted to make it from the very beginning to the very end. It's just not happening. It's too many stitches. So what I was thinking, I frocked my back panel on the Drops 110-27 waistcoat, and I attempted to do what I wanted to do, and I think it's actually going pretty decent so far, because it is not as lettered, so to say. Look. It's not, it's a little bit, but I mean, you can't completely prevent it, but it's better, because others was really like a staircase. This is a lot less like a staircase. So I'm kind of happy with that. But we are not as far as you can see, I still have some yarn that I unraveled. So I was thinking we are gonna work a bit on this waistcoat. And then after that, we can look at the hat collectors and continue a bit on that. That's kind of my plans for today. Good morning, Jessica. I hope you're having a great morning. It is the first coffee of the day. Indeed. For me, it is my second tea. And I also have a lemonade just to kind of help keep it flowing because my tea is still pretty warm. I do have a Dutch tea blend today. It is a classic sort of a black tea. So like it's a bit of like a sort of an English breakfast, but combine that with a bit of an orange peel flavor. Then that would pretty much be it. Since it's a Pickwick tea I'm drinking, I get these sort of small tabs on the tea. and there's a question on them. And today the question is basically translated from Dutch into English. What world record would you want to break? Honestly, for me, it's not a difficult question since I'm a previous athlete, still competing a bit, but more like for fun. That, my friends, if that would be me, it would be a 10-meter air rifle Olympic event. That would be a world record that I'd love to have on my name, but it's not an easy feat. Things changed a lot. I did, though, once many years ago, equal it back when we were doing it according to the old rules, so shooting integer scores rather than decimal scoring as what they're doing today. Fun fact. Yeah, so I have that tea, and I also just have a red lemonade, which is a raspberry cranberry lemonade. Good morning, Susan. Glad to hear you also on the first coffee. That's why I'm saying, grab something to drink, your whip, sit down, hang out, and come and craft with me. We all craft, we all hang out and have a good time. So, Susan, as I just showed Jessica, I did frog, and the rest, I did frog the waistcoat back because the lettering of the decrease was just was not really catching me. So what I think I'm gonna do, we are of course gonna head over to the dual stream, and then I'm gonna pop you guys down. Meanwhile, I'm having this wish list thing that I'd love to have, like some sort of attachment I could attach to the table. Like you can actually get my view. That would be so much cooler, or at least top-down view. That would be so much cooler, but that is on the dream world, so to say. There's so many other things I also need to get sorted and done. Because if I do that, I may not need an extra can. Anyhow, as you can see, we are decreasing here for the armpit, but it is not lettering, but I am decreasing the amount of stitches. So on this first row, I had to decrease 3 stitches, and they say basically slip stitch 3 and then do a treble. Well, chain for the treble, but so what I did slip stitch 1, single crochet, double crochet, treble. That gives this curve a bit. On the next row, so I then single crochet all the way back, and I do a single crochet in that top treble, last treble, and then I turned around. I did single crochet, double crochet, treble, because I only had to decrease 2. And the same I did in this row, and I need to do 1 more row of that. But I need to finish this row first, because kind of here we are, boom, boom, and single crochet back, and then we like do 1 more, and then I need to read pattern and measure. That's kind of what it's going on here. Good morning, Rev. I am doing absolutely brilliantly. I feel a little bit fitter today than I did Monday. So that's positive. I am officially on vacation. As in, I do not need to work until Wednesday. Hallelujah, my friends. Hallelujah. That said, I do have a bunch of things to do. Here the coming days. So I unfortunately won't have much time to craft or to be live. But I do, as I said, yeah, I just have a bunch of things to get sorted and settled. But we should be fine. We should be fine. It's crazy. It's already the 20th of May, huh? Da-da. Just looking at the agenda. Wow. That time flies so quickly. Anyhow, I'm doing treble crochets all the way until the 3rd stitch. So here where the stitch marker is, I need to stop with a single crochet, the 2nd last a double crochet, and then a treble in the 3rd last. So until the 3rd last here, could actually just, for my sake, place a stitch marker. Maybe that helps me reminding myself. So until the red stitch marker, I need to do treble crochets. So it's like no counting, it's just each stitch treble crochet. But yeah, So that's pretty much in short what's going on. I was like, okay, let's catch up on where we were on this. We'll see. I might want to see if I can squeeze in consuming an extra skein. Like if I could finish the skein I'm working on before we start on the hat collectors, that will be good for my consumption project, right? So use up my stash, all in the spirits of Susan and me needing to decrease some space in the house. I think I'm about halfway through this game, so that's definitely a reasonable goal for today. If we work that, unless we finish the back panel first, but I have a feeling I may need to add a new skein for that. Which I have 3 more of these skeins. It's the Hobby Amigo XL, 100% acrylic, and then of course I do also have the chunky for the border. Boom, boom. It's double the thickness. So that's the difference between these two. It's basically double weight. So this is basically 2 of these. But like 2 of these held together gives this. But you can also nicely see if you compare those strands together, right? There is some differences. And of course, this is a bit darker, and I know that is intentionally. I will say, if I do enjoy the fit of this vest once we are done, I have actually considered if I may want to look into getting yarns in like a merino type style, and maybe, yeah, do that. That could be. That is in a thinking world right now. But yeah, I have many ideas. And if I would have to get the merino yarn, then I would have to buy it. And then that we are going against these lovely policies of trying to decrease my stash. And then Susan will come after me. Being like, you promised to shop your stash. Meanwhile, if Lisa comes on today, don't forget her to wish her a belated happy birthday. Her birthday was Monday. That's why she wasn't around with us, I'm sure. I can imagine she might have slept in or something, because I do believe that Monday was also a bank holiday in Canada. So I would say we should remember to congratulate her if she pops on. You make it sound like Susan is the girl from The Ring. Who knows? Susan is the sort of angel on my shoulder trying to keep my devil in check. My devil is the devil that loves to shop yarn. I mean, I'm seriously tempted these past days. I am struggling officially. So, you know, I saw some yarn and I'm like, oh my goodness, that would be awesome for that project. And then I'm like, Stina, you also have other yarns that you are thinking of using for that project. And like it's a shawl basically, but I'm like, why? Like, not needed yet. Like, I have so many other things I should and could do. Anyhow, we're almost there, which means that now we need to remove a stitch marker to do one last treble. And then it's a double and a single. And meanwhile, gag, we are back. Because now I'm going to do center pulling. That means, my friends, I've caught up with when I frogged yesterday. Or no, I frogged Monday evening, I think. I don't remember anymore. Did I frog it yesterday or did I frog it Monday? I could have frogged it yesterday, though I think I did it Monday evening. Monday evening would be more logic. So now I did a treble, so I'm gonna do a double in the next stitch, because already here with a less taller stitch, it will pop down and make the much more even slope. As we discussed Monday, it was way too lettered, and then we're heading off with a single crochet. Of course, when I am starting the next row, oh, well, we are doing single crochets because the following row are single crochet rows. Because that is the whole row of single crochet, so that's like not much I can do about that. So we flip the yarn around so we can do a single crochet, and we'll have to insert a stitch marker. Then we will crack along with single crochets all the way to the end of this row. So yeah, it will be a little bit laddered, but it's not as laddered as it was when we were looking at it Monday, right? So it is already much better. That does please me. That does please me indeed. Let's see. Jessica tells us that she is working on the Lost in Time shawl by Johanna Lindahl. I think I've heard of that before, and maybe I may have that one in my Ravelry list. What on earth is happening? Oh, somebody's coming with a low-hanging airplane over our house. Very heavy, noisy, low airplane. It's like that's tending to be the army guys. Like they fly their Hercules flights like 300 meters above my house. And I am going to have a look at it because that was noisy, my friends. Was that a heli? Apparently that was a heli. It wasn't even a Hercules. It sounded like... But it is the army helis. A British one even. Ugh. Okay, I guess. I don't know why it makes so much noise here. Lost in Time. Yep, I have it listed. And favorite. So it is on my to-do list. The Lost in Time shawl by Johanna Lindahl. I will, and it is actually a free pattern, so I will be so kind to everybody and share the Ravelry link, so you can go ahead and if you want, you can bookmark it yourself if you would like to challenge yourself later on at some stage. It's a gorgeous one. Jessica, what yarn are you using to make it with? But yeah, so just cracking along. Right now, this row is like super easy, right? Single crochet all the way to the stitch marker until and with the stitch marker, the next one on the previous row. The weather in New Jersey is sunny today, with a temperature of 79 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from west at 10 miles per hour, and the current temperature is 70. I can tell you, we just had a very heavy rain fall. I can't believe it might set showers or something like that in vicinity. We will have to check what Nightbot says. But it is slowly getting warmer at least. So we are going from the 11 degrees to like 16, 17. Here it is. Conditions are showers in the vicinity. I said so. With the temperature of 6 degrees Fahrenheit, about 16 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from west southwest at 13 miles per hour, and the humidity is 77. And I said we just did have a big rain shower here. Like half an hour ago, it was basically standing straight down. It is getting better. It should be some of the last rain showers now, and then we are heading into what I would call summer. Technically, it is still spring, but we are getting temperatures crazily high this coming few days. Great timing for vacation, except I will not have time to enjoy the weather. Of course, I will be indoor hosting an event. But I mean, it's going to be like somewhere between 28 and 30 degrees Celsius, which is like in the 80s, almost in the 90s. So we are going from 60 to like end 80s in what? 2 days time? It's just bam, poof, warm. So I am not really sure what happened there. Jessica says she's crocheting the shawl in Merino Gold Batik, which is a 25% wool, 75% acrylic, made in Turkey. It's a two-weight color, 834 purples, red, a black. Oh, it sounds like a patia yarn or a nice yarn or something like that. Susan says she's crocheting baskets with ribbon yarn. The pattern is from Nastasia. Yeah, she also has a few good ones. I actually do have a little stack of ribbon yarns upstairs that I had also planned for a bag. Like a bit thinner ribbon yarns. But I need to get around like doing that as well. And I'm not really sure if I can find the pattern. I think I should be able to. You know, it's like it's one of these 2-3 years ago I had this great idea, and reality is the past couple of years. Like, you know, I got back into crocheting back in 2022. And I think it took me at least 2 years to realize that I was definitely finding projects quicker than I made them. Like I knew, but I kind of refused to acknowledge it. So I just kept like being like, oh, I'd like to do that project, and then I bought the yarn. And I wasn't good enough at writing stuff down either. So here we are. Another good reason for me and my hugely accumulated stash, which currently is going to last me about 10 years. So we have about 10 years of stash busting to do. Let's see. So we decreased 3, we decreased 2, and we decreased 2. And I believe we do have 3 rows of decreasing 2. Just give me one moment to double check with the pattern. Yes, we have 3 times we need to decrease 2. So we have 1 more of that to go. So we will have to do that in this following row. So normally the pattern then would say that I would need to slip stitch 2 times and then just do a treble, but that makes this crazy lettering. So what I'm doing to help that is I am just gonna do a single crochet in that first stitch, because if I instantly just slip stitch, it will be even lower, and then it's gonna be difficult to do the double crochet. So I'll do a single crochet instead, and then I do a double crochet, and then we are just ready for the treble. no extra height builds, because that helps kind of slant the whole project. That is how we kind of avoid. You can see there is a little lettering going on, but it is really minimal compared to where we were at. I'm not really sure why I did set a stitch marker there, because I first need it up in the actual treble, because we are decreasing, so who cares? With those stitches, I'm not going to need those anymore. I mean, not really. So just pulling a little bit in the yarn here. Look, look, look. I think it shows nicely that, so as I said, the lettering is now minimum. I think it is definitely a better way of, because if it was very much like, right, the lettering has definitely been fixed. I think I'm pleased with this approach, even though it's definitely not what the pattern says. Then we hope later on that it is not going to be a big impact. Jessica says I'm more into 1 or 2 weights, but I do use bigger weights. Well, I do have a bunch of hobby twister next to me, which I am making the hat collectors in. So generally I do crochet with smaller yarns, except for this case, it's not. I'm sitting here with a 5mm needle. That feels crazily big, actually. But we are at a stage where we caught up with what I frogged. We kind of agreed on Monday that the lettering was looking hideous. And that maybe the project would solve itself. But end conclusion is here that I frogged. We concluded that would likely look nicer. So, and it does look nicer. So I'm pleased I did that. We are definitely gonna finish this row. And then I'll have to see. I'll just need to read the pattern for a minute once I'm done with this. But I think I do need to crochet some straight up, and then at some stage we need to increase again for a wider shoulder. But you know, when I run out of yarn, I'm also fine with saying that was it for today on this project. So what I originally wanted us to do was to at least catch up with where I were before I frogged it. And that is where we have reached now. Oh. It's funny how we're all different. Indeed, the resident thick user, yarn user, generally do not go below DK, and even if that, it's a rarity. Yeah, well, this is like, I think this is a DK-ish weight. Probably, maybe. It's classified as a 4 weight, actually. It says 4. Well, it's a bit difficult, but look, it's a 4 weight. And this one is a big one. That is going to be a bulky. I mean, this is going to be insane for me to crochet with compared to what I'm used to. Like, I'm used to also 2 and 3 weights. So I do have a shawl laying there, which is like almost a lace weight, very thin alpaca yarn. But it's kind of been sidelined a bit, and I feel it might remain sidelined until June, because now we are like kind of working on this. And I also wanted to put even more steam on the hat collectors, because I have this idea I want to finish it before the first weekend of July. So by the end of June, beginning of July, I'd like to have the hat collectors finished. That's a month. That means that I really need to start crack on. That's reality. If I'll make it, it's another story. So that is another good reason for saying if we finish the skein today, we can definitely pick up the hat collectors. And we might as well finish this one today. There isn't that much left. Like, it's floppy. Very floppy. Jessica says, I really love hand-dyed yarns. My friend hand-dyes yarn. I think hand-dyed yarn are gorgeous. I just don't have the room to do it. But I really should take on the challenge of doing it at some stage, or at least trying. Dun, 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 dun. So, there we are. Cracking on. And I do still wonder what my neighbors is getting fixed, because they've been busy for 3 days. I don't know. New kitchen cabinets or new library, or something in wood at least. She does own her own yarn shop. Jessica, I think I have this feeling we spoke of that once. Like, you mentioned she had her own shop, so you were sometime rather challenged with not buying yarn because obviously it would support your friend at the same time. I do have my own store as well, where I sell my makes, those that I do not keep myself. And hopefully, and by the end of, I'm not sure if I'll reach it in May, but definitely here within the next coming weeks, I should have everything set up and ready to go for the Americas, because my National Postal Service is finally sending mail as duty paid. Good morning, Daniela. I hope you have a tea or a cup of coffee with you and a project to work on. The rest of us is already hanging out, as you can see. I did, as we talked about, frock this project, and not completely, but I did frock it back. So as you can see, we do have sort of fixed the lettering by increasing the height of the stitches rather than just slip stitching and then boom, high stitch, and then slip stitching, boom, high stitch. So we don't have this staircase feeling anymore. There's a little bit, but that's a bare minimum, and it's almost impossible to fix that based on how this pattern goes. So I am now back at where I frocked plus a row almost. So that's good. That I am happy with. So yeah, basically just cracking on here. And then of course I still have the hat collector sitting next to me that I do want to proceed with as well later today, because I do need to prioritize that. And the reason I want to have it finished by the end of June is that the first weekend of July I will very likely be home alone. And that means that I have extra room to easier, without like being afraid that my partner may step on the needles, block it, because the best place I actually currently have to block it is either on my living room floor, but then I would have to like move things around. And for that to kind of like dry for a day, it's not practical when he's home. But the same would go if I would do it upstairs in our sleeping room or in bedroom, because it would basically lay in his path from the bed to getting out of the room. So in both cases, that is a project for blocking that would be so much better if I'm home alone. So that is likely what I'm looking at. That would be great. Of course, if I don't make it, I don't make it, and I just need to deal with it otherwise. Much better indeed. How are we all doing? I am doing great, thank you. I feel better than I did Monday. That means that I'm less tired, I guess. Oh, I see why I changed to top chat, because I see I'm missing messages again. I'm sorry. Rev says I'm still neck deep in this cowl. It goes well, and I decided I'm going to end it with the next section. Nice. The Miko XL is about on par with Big Twist. Well, that's probably true. I don't know. It's like 1.75 ounces to 109 yards, or 50 grams to 100 meters. So yeah. Let's see. I need to have single crochet, double crochet, treble crochet, 2 more trebles. This. Okay. And Daniela says it does look much better. I do agree. Whatever we did does look much better. Welcome! Hey! We do party for this. We party, 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 party. Welcome to the members. And Jessica, if you haven't seen it, here next to us, we do have a little counter with drinks, teas, and coffees. If you need a refill, feel free to take them anytime soon. Biscuits to go on the side, and if you are in doubt of anything, I am sure all of the other members are happy to show you around. Thank you so much. Jessica says, "Oh, I want to do the cowl." Ooh, yeah, it is looking gorgeous. Daniela, a cowl is a crochet along. So basically, what you often have is like a crochet designer will release a pattern in bits, and you kind of know what yarn to get and what sort of end project, but you get the patterns released bits by bits, either daily or weekly. Rarely it's only monthly or quarterly, but generally you would like get it, let's say, every Friday. Who knows? It's an example, right? And yeah, so this is John the Yarn Addict, who made a crochet along that that Rev is working on, and that is a blanket. Looking pinky. I need to slip stitch back up 2 stitches. 1, 2, because that is the only way we can kind of get back to the trebles, but it is working. So here we do have the first single. That looks funky. I know why. Oh no. What happened here? This looks a little bit funky indeed. I need to figure out what I just did here before we continue, because that looks like a big gap what I just did. Oh, wow, gifted membership. Daniela has been so lucky. She got a gifted membership to my channel. So we are celebrating once more. And as said, here, just write to me. We have a counter with drinks and biscuits. Feel free to grab one. Meanwhile, I am still trying to puzzle out what on earth did I just do? Because that looked like I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So I need to recheck everything here. Because that is... Should I have... I did slip stitch, didn't I? I should have. But I didn't. I just started on single crochets. Dang it. Or did I? No, wait, I did slip stitch. So I did exactly what I was supposed to do. But that means that I place my stitch marker down here. That is what went wrong. I placed my stitch marker wrong. Do. This is my treble, so that should be a single, a double, a treble. Okay, that sounds much better. I really need to pay attention here, because obviously it's less rapid decreases as the lettering type we just had. I almost made a mistake, so that looks a bit better. That is a bit less lettering. The rest was like suddenly was like, yeah, that looks good. And I do believe that we need to turn around and do single crochets, but I probably need to look at the pattern first. Yeah, that looks pretty even. Single, double, triple, triple, single, double, triple. Yep, that matches. That matches. Yep, we are good. We are good. Daniela loves her gifted membership. You know what I love most is when people gift memberships in here, that the memberships goes to a person that's here. Because the problem is with the gifted memberships is they go to a random member. So just one of my random subscribers who doesn't already have a membership will receive this gifted membership. So it is basically a lottery. And I love when the winner of the lottery is actually live when they get it. It's wonderful because people have the chance to say thank you. The other alternative is probably you'll just get like this notification. You just got a gifted membership, and you're being like, okay. And you weren't even like online when it happens. Good. So we have 3, 2, 2, 2, which is good. When the pace measures 33 centimeters. We need to start increasing for a wide shoulder. So, measuring tape. We're putting it on the side here because that is much easier for measurements. And we'll have to check how wide it is. Increases are in the trebles only. That means that if we are to increase in this piece, I will have to do a single crochet row before we can start the increases, but I think we are going to have to add some length on it. That is what I'm sort of expecting. Let's just ensure the stitches are sort of nicely stretched evenly along here. And we are currently at 29.5, so we need to get to 33. So that is, I think, a single crochet, treble crochet, single crochet row, if we're lucky. And there is no further decreases, because the next what we need to do is start to increase again. So right now we are just gonna turn the row. So I'm gonna slip stitch up to the treble, and then from the treble, so I'll do 2 slip stitches up to the treble, and then I'll single crochet all the way to the other stitch marker. And then I need to ensure that I place that stitch marker in the right, because else I'll just end up making 2 extra treble crochets here at the end, and then it's gonna get skewed. And that, my friends, was what just went wrong. So we have 2 slip stitches, and then we'll start on the single crochets. And there, my friend, is where we need to place in that first stitch. I need to put in a stitch marker for myself, because I'm afraid if I don't, then there is 0 chance of me keeping track, to say the least. Then we'll end up in the same situation we just had. Luckily, it was only a couple of stitches I had to frog back, but I mean, if I hadn't noticed, that would have been horrible later on to frog back. So that we are trying to avoid. What I also need to do with this project is I do need to create or craft 2 buttons. I do have a sample of the buttons I need to craft somewhere. I thought it was here. It should be in here. Right now it doesn't look to be. There it is. I need to craft 2 of these buttons. This was like a test craft. You can kind of see the color goes very nicely with this project as well. But this was my test craft, and since I don't have the exact same coloring mixed up, I need to just make 2 of these to go with this. That's for the closure here. 2 buttons. But that is a project for also a later time. So I might have this whole project crafted like as in crocheted, but I will then need to still finish up the buttons at a later date. When I have time, I'll have to look at that. Because there's so many things coming up, but the good thing is when it comes to the buttons, it's not going to take me long. It might be like an hour project to get them crafted, because I need to unpack my resin kit and I need to mold them and stuff like that. But generally that's usually reasonably quick. That's what I'm sort of expecting, at least. Now, so we are finishing this row, then we'll have to just crochet row back. when we get to the other, we'll have another triple crochet row and then a single crochet row, and then we'll have to probably measure to see if we are indeed at the 33 centimeters marker, or if we will need another row of triples. Good morning, Lisa! Woohoo! Yeah, please, thummies, thummies, thummies. It is such a helpful thing when I do get thummies. And it's a real party day today, because Jessica has been in a very gifting mood. And I can only say how much I appreciate it. Ta -ta -ta, ta -ta -ta -ta. And as I said, I am officially on vacation. I do not need to work until Wednesday next week. But my vacation does unfortunately not include a bunch of crafting time. I have a ton of things I need to do. And I am gonna find a project I can bring with me on the go, but I don't know how much I will even reach to do. But I think it's nice to have something. Then we'll have to see how that goes. And Lisa, belated happy birthday. I hope Monday was wonderful for you. As I said, we are gonna stack here because we have no further increases or decreases. So we are stacking 3 single crochets to create the treble. And Lisa, you totally missed out Monday because we were discussing how to fix my issue with this vest. It's the back panel of the vest I'm making. And it really had, like, the decreases the pattern suggested was insanely laddering. Like it looked like a staircase, literally. And I think we have that so good as fixed now. So I didn't completely follow the pattern to ensure it was more a smooth decrease. And I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. In the sense of, because the other was insanely like laddering. This is a bit more smoother. And so what I've done is basically I've kept increasing the length of the stitches until I get to the treble. First I had to decrease 3 stitches, so I slip stitched, chain 1, chain 2, treble. And then the next one I just did chain 1, chain 2, treble, as instead of slip stitching 3 stitches, boom, treble. Yeah, so I think this is what I've kind of done with this. And I do believe it looks better. If it's gonna work in the end in the pattern, I don't know, but I hope so. The benefit, I guess, is that I'm still having this border that we will crochet around, so it's probably gonna be less visible than what it currently may feel like. And of course I'll need to sew it together in the sides too. My 27-year-old daughter made sure I had a great 27th birthday. But you don't look a day beyond 26, girl. I can't believe you're already 27. She also has reached the last counted birthday. Oh, the last counted birthday I thought was 29. You know, I'm only 29 plus whatever goes above to make whatever actual year, I guess. For those curious, I was born in the 80s. Yep, Same here, Lisa. Same here. So when you turn 30, it would be 29 plus 1, if that makes sense. That's kind of what I've learned. It is getting very, very floppy. We just got mail. On that note, I should have a parcel arriving today. I don't know if that will arrive in the afternoon or if it will first arrive in the evening. That said, if they first arrive with it in the evening, I won't be home, and nor will my partner. And then they can come back tomorrow. So I'm just going to quickly check what the tracking says. But it still appears to be stuck somewhere, so it's not going to be delivered yet. But maybe they will hand it over at my neighbor's place then. I would not be happy if they leave it outdoors. If you want a back panel to have some drape, be a bit uncomfortable if it was as stiff as a board. I do think it has some drape to it. It doesn't feel stiff, so it definitely has drapes. A bit floppy. I did? Yeah, no. I was talking about the yarn, Rev. This yarn is getting floppy. Birthday yarn does not count. Yeah, that's fair. Birthday yarn is okay. That's why it was okay for me to buy in January. But I mean, this is a skein, right? And this is how a new skein looks. It's floppy. The skein is getting floppy. There's not much left in the skein. That's what I meant with floppy. No worries. I am sure you were busy crocheting, not looking on the screen when I said it was floppy. My leftover skein is getting floppy. But yeah, you would like the garment to have some sort of drape for sure. I just realized that my cardigan today matches very nicely the yarn I'm working with today. Fun fact. Fun but not relevant fact. Lisa ordered a bunch of Hirschner's mill end packs. Ooh. Shall be curious to see what you will receive. I ordered no millins. I ordered a nothing. My last yarn was a bit more than almost 2 months ago. My goodness. I left half of it in Denmark, so it's not counted as added to my stash. My mom is working with it. And the other I almost used already, so I almost did. could consider that I almost didn't buy yarn. I have 2 skeins left of it, which I need to consume. So far, the suggestion seems to be, because I made those rainbow bucket hats, you know, and with the last 2 skeins, the suggestion was actually to make like a child version of them. That could be, indeed. Megan says she also ordered a bunch of Hirschner's Millen packs, or at least ordered Hirschner's Millens a while ago, and she was very happy with the colors she got. It's a little bit of a lucky bag feeling, isn't it? Like, you do know you're getting Millens, you do know you're getting cakes, but it's a surprise of the colors. So it's a bit of a lucky bag feeling, except you just know at least what yarn is in the lucky bag. Exactly. Lisa says, I know what fibers I'm getting. Mystery is just colors. Yep. I think that kind of feels the more like secure way of getting a lucky bag. At least there's a chance you are very likely to like it. I did end up getting a couple of extra colors of Karen £1 for this cal, but it was 40% off. Oh, that's a good discount. I mean, I've been looking at the lace weight yarn where I'm like, it's a good price and I could use that for a shawl, but let's face it, I have so many other yarns I can use for a shawl. Like, why should I not just do that? Megan says she got the 3-weight merino cakes and sport weight wool blend ones. Nice. As Megan already has so many of the cotton acrylic ones. Lisa didn't actually order cakes this time, so what did you order? Michael's was having a flash sale, so I grabbed a bit of this and that. Got the wife some sticker packs. Stickers are always good to have, aren't they? Is she like a sticker collector, or specific stickers, or just in general, or how and what? She uses them for her bullet journals. Now that makes sense. So sunshine and stuff like that. I think I might. Should I have that still in here? Or did I take it out? I may have taken it out. Oh, I once had a nice sticker saying something along with, you know, like shine and smile and something positive. In the way we use yarn. She has a dragon's hoard of them just in case. Well, you know, we all have our quirks, I guess. For my partner, he would have all sorts of electrical devices and tiny bits and bobs up on our attic. And he is definitely like, you know, having something for something if you need something electrical or computerly done. Like the club got donated a very old computer, and the owner said you can keep this for the club and just wipe the hard drive. And my partner noticed what hard drive was in, so he actually upgraded the hard drive to like a newer SSD drive because he just had one laying, you know, that type of guy. I got the cotton linen wool blend 3-weight, pure wool 2-weight, alpaca blend, and the 2-pound wool blend, 2 of each pack. If the alpaca blend is the same as the Wheels of Alpaca that hubby has, like, then I am sure you will be a happy camper when you get them. I just need to finish this. Jessica asks if I made the small bag, and I'm sure you're talking about my little notions bag here. This one, where I have all of my tiny things. So in here we have my crochet hooks. I do have a yarn threader thingy, which is normally in its container. Not sure what that went to. Here. Let's put those together. I also have my darning needles. I should have something called row counters. They are, I think they're 3D printed, but it's working. I got them quite cheap. I got like 2 for €1 or something like that. I thought that might be handy dandy for later when I'm getting into more technical knitting. Needles, measuring tape, scissors, stuff like that. All nice handy dandy stuff in here. I do also have a little key ring, which is actually a pretty awesome little key ring. The text here, it says, sometimes you forget you're awesome, so this is your reminder. I think that's pretty cool, with a little sunflower as well to kind of go with it. Yes, I made this. It's probably now 3 years ago. Yeah, it's 3 years ago. It is made in 100% cotton, double-stranded, and basically I started with a chain row here in the bottom. You can see that here, and on each side I crocheted stitches into, and basically what's done afterwards is that you alternate single and double crochets, but you go down in the previous row to kind of make this sort of texture. Then I had a zipper still laying around. I got a bunch of zippers at some stage from my mom, because I wanted to make bags, but bags made of paper, like, and you put plastic around them like tape to help it ensure some strength, and you like sort of sew them together and so on. I have one upstairs. I'll happily show you, just not today because it's upstairs. But I like this more actually because it is a little bit more practical. And then I went and I bought, this is a cotton, like a cheap cotton cloth, a bit durable. I bought in a clothing fabric store in the city, and I hand sew this fabric together, and I flipped it around and I sewed on manually with the hand as well, the zipper on the lining, and then I sew it on the bag like this. The bag is a little bit unaligned, but you know, it's the first I made. It's a little bit unaligned, but generally it's pretty okay, I think. So it's 3 years old now, and it is definitely functioning as intended. It goes with me on travels. It goes with me wherever I need. So that's pretty much my little handy dandy bag, which I made 3 years ago. Thank you, Jessica. Jessica says, I have to go run to a client. I hope everyone gets a great day. Thank you, Megan. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a great, great day. It's not the same as alpaca cakes. Those were sold up. Oh, that's a bummer. Those are nice cakes. I have a couple of them still in my stash. I have 2, I think. Yeah, I have 2 wheels of alpaca cakes. Good. And we'll have to single crochet all the way back, because when we are at the 33 centimeters, we need to start increasing. An increase is only happening on the treble crochet rows. And that means that regardless of what, I will have to end this one on a single crochet. So we'll single crochet all the way back, and then it's time to measure. And then we will figure out what we'll do, or if we'll just change to the heart collectors. That could also be a possibility. But yeah, so yeah, I made my own little notions pouch, which I'm pretty pleased with actually. You could probably also use a thicker cotton and get to the same. Here I just double stranded 2 thinner pieces of cotton to create it. The only challenge is, of course, when double stranding and it's cotton and stuff like that, and it's a little bit dense because of it has to kind of close, right? It has no gaps. That does pull a strain on fingers, so it's a hard project for fingers. And I personally do not want to make a new bag with lining again until I have a sewing machine, because I am not going to hand sew those 2 sides again by hand and on top of that zipper in hand. Not happening. I will need a sewing machine first before I do that again, unless it's for myself. Because that alone, the hand sewing, took 2 hours of my time. And I am not a big fan of hand sewing. So a sewing machine is on my wish list, I guess, except I don't really have room to have it here currently. Which means that probably I'll inherit one at some stage, or I need to find, or I need to consider, that you have these like really, really tiny ones, but I don't know if that's really worth it. But I mean, because those tiny small ones you can maybe get for miniature versions, it seems to be more for kids learning to sew and stuff like that. I'm not sure if it's durable enough for that. Like, then maybe it's just better to get a better one. Or I'll need to go to my in-laws to see if I can have her sew it together, but at the same time, yeah, I'm not sure if that's ideal. So maybe just need to wish me one at some stage. It's for later in life, not for right now. I did also finish a shawl. My daughter says it's her favorite one that I've made. Oh, nice. What pattern? I finished nothing, which means that I am afraid it's going to be a boring yarn talk video on Friday. Well, not completely boring, but I mean, I didn't finish any items since last. On the last 2 ones, I always had something finished, but this time, nope. No projects finished. No projects finished. And this, my friends, was the last single crochet. Maybe for this before we need to increase again. I don't know. We'll just stretch the stitches again so they feel like they have settled. And we will measure. Lisa said she did the Sislov half circle shawl. Ah, nice. Meanwhile, Riven says, speaking of yarn, I am at 17 skeins used this month at 82 of the year. Good job. I am not that close at all. But I have, without saying too much, officially decreased my stash so far this year. Not necessarily decreased the amount of stuff I have at home. Well, a little bit, because some of it went to my neighbors. But I mean, generally I still have a little bit too much on my stash. Guess what? It is 33 centimeters. Perfect. Oh, wonderful. Unicorns. We have a super chat from Jessica, and I have to say, of course, that warrants a whole different level of partying. Thank you ever so much. It is super much appreciated. My appreciations straight to you, Jessica. Indeed, it's a dance party. Do, 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 do. Fingers dancing here. So even the height fits here. That's also a dance party with. I mean, you can kind of see where this is heading, except I have a feeling this goes much quicker than this side. Is it just me? This goes like normal, but I have really the feeling that it's a little bit skewed to one side. Well, it's maybe not too bad, but it looks a little bit. A little bit. It does look a little bit, doesn't it? It's not too bad. I think it's just a question of stretching it a bit the other side. So, better. But you can actually see how it increases and decreases. So you really have like a feeling of a shape. That's kind of cool. So we did like this, and now we need to increase again. Okay. Yeah, I think that's how the stitches are laying. Maybe it's not too bad if I like switch it around. Then I have the opposite opinion. Now it feels like this is slanting way too much, this compared to, right? So I think it's just how the stitches are laying a little bit. Also, what's worth to keep in mind is here I have to slip stitch to get up there, to slip stitch back, like I do the slight decrease and then, or slanted decrease, and then I slip stitch those two stitches back to kind of be able to go back, right? You can also slightly see it on the fabric here that there is a few decreases. I also need to weave in an end, but it's just having a good time. Ooh. Yeah, I think it will be fine. And if not, then I guess that's how it is. I need to believe in the process. Believe in the process. So I should have 56 stitches. I know I technically have 55 because somehow I have a stitch too little all the way down the bottom, but I was like, okay, that one stitch I am not gonna cry about. So when the piece measures 33 centimeters, increase for white shoulder each side on every row with 1 treble crochet 2 times. How will I need to understand this? At the same time, when the piece measures approximately 38, only 1 row with single crochet, treble crochet left. Work 1 row only on each side. Do not work the middle. Okay. That feels like it's going to be a bit very narrow, but maybe it's not as bad as it sounds. So increase for wild shoulder each side on every row with 1 treble crochet 2 times. And I need to get to 60 and I'm at 56. So that needs to make 2 increased rows. And when I do increase, I do a regular treble. On the following stitch, I do 2 increases, so 2 trebles in 1 stitch. And the same for the other side. And I need to do that twice, so 2 more rows. So we have at least this much more plus a regular. Okay. That seems simple enough. So the real question is, ladies and gentlemen, are we continuing on this or am I finding my heart collectors? Because if I want to break here, this is a perfect time to stop working on this. It's a bag and no one will notice. Only those watching me from the bag, in case. Lisa says, I sent you a photo. Ooh. Meanwhile, I have now noticed that apparently my parcel is being delivered sometime. It's on the way for delivery, but yeah, that doesn't say anything yet. Oh, so it's on its way. So I may have to shortly leave you with a short break when it's delivered. It doesn't really give me a real clear tracking, just that it's on its way. Okay. I guess. Oh my goodness, Lisa, this is gorgeous. Of course, my benefit here is that I can see everything before you can, but look at this. Ooh, isn't this gorge? Well, that's just, I wish I could like zoom in between. But that is gorgeous. I feel if I zoom just a little bit more, it kind of a little bit pops out of photo, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. That is gorgeous. I think I have a similar colorway laying in my stash. I maybe contemplate it. I like this. Gorge. Absolutely gorgeous. Jessica says the shawl you're working on as well, is it on Ravelry? If you're asking me, then the Hat Collectors is indeed on Ravelry. I have shared it in the description box down below. It is a paid pattern though. It's on Ravelry. Rev says, well, the Hat Collectors has a time limit, so I say switch. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. Because this is something I can also, like, you know, I may work on it later tonight, and then I'm not necessarily sure I want to pick up the Hat Collect. It's a bit big of a project, where if I just want to quickly sit on something, you know, this is actually something that I can work on for a couple of rows. 2 or 3 rows, 4 rows almost, without needing to read the pattern, because I know I need to do 2 rows of increases. So the following row is a treble crochet row, and then I need to do an increase here and increase here. Then I do single crochet all the way back in every stitch, and then the following row is a treble crochet row with 1 increase, 1 increase, and then single crochet all the way back. And then I believe I need to do a full treble crochet and full single crochet without increases, and then I need to read the pattern, right? So that's actually almost couch friendly compared to no additional counting needed. I just need to remember to increase. Like that should technically be a piece of cake. Don't forget to hydrate. I am quickly just gonna enjoy a sip of my tea. The Dutch tea blend is such a friendly tea today. Now we are finding the smaller stuff. 3.75mm crochet hook. It's an F hook. For those curious. We finished. I didn't weave in those ends yet. Maybe I need to do that before I'm actually starting on the following row, because else this row is gonna be like kind of left into when I'm all the way back. So maybe that's where I should start. I should start with weaving in these, and then we'll start crocheting. I think that is a much better idea right now. I thought I would have done that Monday evening, but I didn't. Mm-mm. Do, do, do. I agree with Rev. Rev says here, Lisa, you always have the prettiest work. She does make some really pretty shawls, doesn't she? I am trying my best to just get close to be in her league. Even though I'm sure she may disagree. She may say that I'm already there. Mm-hmm. I actually want to go up that direction. And of course, Lisa says thank you. Should be a thank you indeed. We all like to get compliments for our work. And I think everybody should be complimented for their work. Just makes us feel good. Makes us feel accomplished. Everybody always deserves recognition in one shape or form. That is my humble opinion. Indeed, it is a gorgeous rainbow gradient. I do have some rainbow yarn that could work absolutely marvelous for that shawl. Maybe. A future project. Well, it is in my list of things that I want to do, but it is not in my I have decided when to do. Lisa says it's a colorway Marchant Pink in Sultan Deluxe. Yeah, I think I have that in my stash actually. I started knitting a Stephen West shawl with the very unique yarn. It is a brushed Mercer-sized cotton that I bought in Mexico a few years ago. More vacation yarn. Except not from Spain this time. Ooh. I do have a knit shawl planned also, actually. So that is going to be my first bigger knitting project. I have this idea, and I do have the pattern. I just need to sit down and like get started on it. But I think I'm not gonna prioritize that by any means. I think I will be prioritizing my energy probably mainly here on the hat collectors because we know I'm running on a deadline, right? I need to cut the little end so I can actually thread my needle. It's a bit of a thinner darning needle, but I feel that that ruins less of the fabric already made. Ugh. And then it's split. Yes, Sis Love is a free pattern on Ravelry. I didn't share that. No, it was the other pattern I shared. I will find the link for you guys. Just need to thread this needle first. Yay! The Sis Love half circle. Yeah, because they also have a squared one, and I have it favorite already, so that's why I know it's in my to-do list. Half circle. And I will also post the regular Sis Love shawl, which is a triangle shawl. And both of them is a free pattern designed by a Polish designer. So for those curious, I shared the links to that in the chat, that you can, if you want to, go ahead and save. But yeah, I definitely need to make that some stage. Both of them, I think. Just need to finish a few other projects first, such as this one. So yeah, I do have it's a bit of a simpler knit project, but it is a knit project that I have planned to knit. I do maybe look into doing some beanies in between, but I mean, right now my focus should probably be on the heart collectors, because if I want to have it finished in a month, then I do need to pick it up a bit. And not just work on it when we guys are together on the stream. Or even though, while that's cozy, I haven't been working on it in between. I mean, you know, a row right now is taking me a good solid plus 3 hours. So, I mean, it does take some time. Hallelujah, 2 ends going in. Yay! Now I need to find the pattern, because as simple as it sounds, I actually don't know what to do next. I have a good idea of what to do next. I need to crochet into a bunch of chains, but we are gonna be at row 48, 49, something along those lines. Let's see, 46, 47. 48 is what we reached to. 48 stitches. Time to remove stitch markers. insert, turn the work. And I mean, size-wise, it's a crazily big project to flip around also now. Do. So we're turning the work and we are starting with a chain 3 to make a double crochet, which we don't do because I stack them. But you know, I'm kinda, you know that already. I don't need to repeat myself. And oh my goodness, what a fiddly time you're doing, Stina. No need to do this. Do. And we need 2 more in the same stitch. So we are, instead of working trebles now, we're working doubles. Need to get used to that. Been so good at working trebles. That was my 2 doubles. And then I need to do double crochets in the next, I don't know how many stitches. Including chain spaces. So then we need to skip 2 when we get down there. So what I'll do is I'll crochet along here and then I'll count stitches. I need to count to 21 when we get down there. Which I guess is okay. Monday I finished the very short means oh, sorry, moment. I need to kill my throat. We'll try again. Monday I finished the Varo meets Granny shawl, but I made it into a shawlette, says Jessica. Ooh. That is nice. So a small shawl. And Elisa has shared a link to the shawl she's currently working on, and it is beginner friendly. It is the Dustland shawl. Oh yeah, the knit shawl we talked about, I think maybe 2 weeks ago-ish. I have a feeling that's about the time. I'm going into some filet knitting, like filet crochet, I know, but it's going to be more like a filet knitting feeling. For those curious, of course, we could just quickly pop over and see how it looks. Here we have it from Stephen West. This mustardy colors. It's gorgeous though, but I think we talked about it and I do like it more in this teal color because I think the pattern shows more on this color than they do on the mustard. Like they show, but I think these show a bit better. Of course, we also have the gray. That's also not too bad. What color are you making it in, Lisa? Yep, we did talk about it. Is the Virus meets Granny a fiber spider pattern? Oh, that could be. I am not sure. To be honest, I know how it looks. I just don't know out of my top of my head who's the original creator. Like, I have a very short tutorial because nobody knows who actually made the very short, so I am not quote unquote snatching anything. Cream color, okay, nice. Da, 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 da. So I need to have 3 more stitches, and then it's going to be counting time. Let's see if I can count to 21. I should be able to count to 21. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 1. Ha! Awesome. Meanwhile, we can here see the project of Lisa's. That's a nice color. That's yarn. Ta-cha. Looks good. I didn't even know you could like log project progresses like this. That's maybe a little bit too much locking for me personally. Like I'm okay locking my stash, but I shouldn't start locking projects. It will take me too much time. Okay. Ignore my side table mess. Well, you don't want to even know to what mess is around this computer right now. It's a mess. That is first gonna look decent once, I don't know, I need to clean for visitors or something like that. I live in an organized chaos. Not completely. It's not too messy, but you can see in this home that there is a lift in it. Skip 2 stitches, and then we need to do 9. Then it's 1, 2, 1, 9, skip 2, which means 10 in total. And that is gonna be literally for the rest of today. That's not too bad. I mean, I think it's good to have my yarn stash locked on Ravelry, but I'm not really gonna do lots of individual projects. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I think that's too much work, to be honest, personally speaking. Which is good because I like a lot of colors in my work. Yeah, so when all said and done, I will end up using 14 colors on the blanket. I've gotten pretty quick at weaving in ends. Practice makes perfect, they say. I mean, I don't want to count the amount of ends we have been weaving in here so far and how many is still to go. But we are at what I said. I think I did have a color change where I could continue on it. Yeah, I do. So that means that once we get the color change here, we need to cut yarns because this is the first of the cakes of the, yeah. And it's there. Or is it the second already? Oh, I lost track. That's not good. We'll have to figure that out when we get there. I'll just need to find a new series to binge watch or an audiobook, and then crack on with the crocheting. When we get there. Lisa says I'm better at locking projects than Stash. Mm-hmm. Did Rev share a link? No, I don't think so. Sometimes my chat doesn't show everything, it seems like, or I just miss it. Somehow. Yeah, I said it was 10 in total, didn't I? I did. Oh, yeah. I do apologize. It feels like a long day without having been a long day. I'm in an active case of avoidance. I need to rip out the foot of a sock I made for my son. I didn't make the heel deep enough. Well, which means that you don't feel like ripping off the work you just did, but you know you have to. So it's called, I guess, procrastination. You do other things. It was a little bit with like, okay, we're gonna frog the vest, and now we worked a bit on it, and now I feel better because we kind of got to the same point at where we were. But I mean, yeah. No. No. I made a stitch too many. Two actually. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm not paying attention, but I did frog on time, so that's, I guess, something. One, two. Da, da-dum, dum, 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 da-dum. I'm in an active case of I have so many things I need to do, and I don't feel like doing it. Yep, I can relate. Six, 8, 10. I need to find yarns upstairs for packing. You know, I'm packing stuff tomorrow for the trip. So I will be in Belgium for the coming days. And I'm going to bring a project with me. But as I said, I don't know if I will reach to work on it at all, and if so, how much and stuff like that. But I know for sure if I don't bring it, I will have time, and then I'm annoyed I didn't bring it. And if I don't bring it, then, and if I do bring it, then I probably won't have time. You know, that is the general rule here of whatever. Oh, what's it called? You know what I mean. And I'm sure you have similar feelings on some things either. You know, if it's like, it's basically being like, if you bring the umbrella, it will not rain, and if you don't bring the umbrella, it will rain, kind of concept. Murphy's Law. Thank you. That was the one I was missing. I will do it when either when I need a break from this shawl or when I finish it. I also needed a break from my Christmas makes. That's 3 of 11. My son added another one. He added another request. You're not gonna believe this, but I ended up taking socks on last night when I went to bed because I had so cold feet. I was freezing and I just can't fall asleep when I have cold feet. So I took socks on, and normally overnight I'll end up like losing them, taking them off somehow in my sleep, not noticing. I woke up and they were still on. I was like, oh my goodness, that must have been a cold night. Um, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So far, we're still going strong. He asked for another shawl for his music teacher. Ah. Sounds like he's very pleased with his teachers then. When giving gifts. I don't think I ever gave gifts to my teachers. Nope. I don't recall I did. But I do think I have a photo of from back when we were in New Zealand. We went to a place like, you know, one of these open air museums where you can like read stuff from old days and stuff like that. And I recall, now when we're talking about teachers in general, I recall I did have some of that listed, and they were actually quite funny. I just need to find it if I can. That'd be sad if I actually deleted it. No, it's here. Rules for teachers as of 1872 in New Zealand. Teacher each day will fill lamps and clean windows. Each teacher will bring a bucket of water and a scuttle of coal for the day's session. 3. Make your pens carefully. You may whittle nibs to the individual taste of the pupils. 4. Men teachers may take one evening each week for courting purposes or 2 evenings a week if they go to church regularly. 5. After 10 hours in school, the teachers may spend the remaining time reading the Bible or other good books. 6. Women teachers who marry or engage in unseemly conduct will be dismissed. 7. Every teacher should lay aside from each pay a goodly sum of his earnings for his benefit during the declining years, so that he will not become a burden on society. That's called pension, I believe, today. Number 8. Any teacher who smokes, uses liquor in any form, frequents pole or public halls, gets shaved in a barber shop will give good reasons to suspect his worth, intentions, integrity, and honesty. I'm like, you can't get shaved at a barber store? Like, what's wrong in that? Number 9. The teacher who performs his labor faithfully and without fault for 5 years will be given an increase of 2 shillings and 6 pence per week in his pay, providing that the Board of Education approves. Then we improved a little bit for 1915 for the teachers. It says, number 1, you will not marry during the terms of your contract. Number 2, you are not to keep company with men. Number 3, you must be home between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. unless attending a school or function. Number 4, you may not leave the city limits without permission of the chairman of the board. Number 5, you may not loiter downtown in ice cream stores. No ice creams to be had. 6, you may not ride in a carriage or automobile with any man unless he is your father or brother. 7, you may not smoke cigarettes. I think that's a fair one. Number 8, you may not dress in bright colors. Okay. Number 9, you may not under no circumstances dye your hair. I don't know if that was that possible. That must have been. Number 10, you must wear at least 2 petticoats and your dress must not be any shorter than 2 inches above the ankle. Woohoo. Number 11, to keep the schoolroom clean, you must sweep the floor at least once daily, scrub the floor with hot soapy water at least once a week, clean the blackboard at least once a day, and start a fire at 7 a.m. so that the room will be warm by 8. Boom. Rules back in the 1900s. Crazy, huh? Think about that. Now, that was a fun fact. That was in New Zealand, by the way. I think that one will be the new red pot t-shirt when I'm waiting for it. It is gorgeous pattern she's working up, designing. His school is very small and teachers and kids have very close relationships. Makes good sense. But like I'm like reading those rules, some of them are definitely very old. But I guess some of them is reasonable, right? You know, I'm still when I hear it, some of them, makes me shake my head. But I think, like the one with like you may not smoke and so on, I think that's a good one because that is generally like, not good. Um, but I mean, don't loiter around ice cream stores. I'm like, okay, what's wrong in that? Just asking. That seems reasonably harmless to me. 6, 8, 10. But apparently, going to the ice cream parlor is not harmless. And you can't leave the city boundaries unless you have approval of doing so. I'm like, hope you have a decent sized city because else that's gonna be boring too. Lisa says I would fail at not wearing bright colors. Yeah, that's definitely a challenge too. So I do generally have darker colors that I prefer, but I mean, I also have bright colors in between. No issue there. I'm like, don't marry, don't loiter around with men. Do you have ill intentions if you get shaved at a barber store? How can you have unseemly ill intentions if you do that? Crack, it's Christ. I have a chain too many. Who would have thought? But I am, my friends. It's not that far of a frog, but we had a similar issue in the past, and I think it won't be noticeable if I just kind of nicely carry on. It's not too noticeable. It is semi-noticeable, but mainly if you know, which the problem is I do, but I mean, it could be worse. Yeah, it could be worse. I am just not in the mood to frog back for X stitches. Let's just compare, should be. Yeah, so if I like stretch, it's not too bad. But technically I do have an extra chain here, which I shouldn't have had. But I mean, looking at the others, it's not insanely bad. So I think we will ignore. Because if I don't, I'll go bonkers. I love me some neon. Neons can be good. Lovely bright colors. But bright colors could also be pastel, but you're more into the neons. Oh no. Only one stitch here. Oh my goodness. I need to pay attention. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I need to pay attention. But I mean, like, what's wrong at getting shaved at the barber's parlor? How can you have like ill intentions if you just get a nice decent shave? Like pastels too. I just like color. Okay, just color in general. Da, da, dum, dum, dum. Then we are back at arguing to what extent white and black is a color. I believe they are. But they're of course not color in the same way as red, green, blue, and yellows. Rose says, okay, so no bright colors, no riding in carriages with men unless it's a father or brother, though luck, tough luck, Uncle Frank. So lesbian goth school mamas are perfectly fine, apparently. Yes. They definitely also have no ill intentions, right? Because they don't need to get shaved at the barber's parlor. Oh my goodness. I have to interpret the rules. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't. You're like a fun fact that they also wrote men teachers and women teachers. And I'm like, men and female? Like male and female? Or teachers in general? I did warn you all I was the devil at the bar. You're right. Indeed, as Lisa says, they must also be very hairy. Very hairy goth teachers. Ah, of course, the world was generally a lot smaller back then, right? Compared to today. Because 4, 6, 8, 10. Because back then you were much more dependent on horse and wagon slash trains compared to today. Like we'll just step out and take the car. So the world has gotten a lot bigger, even though like size wise it's the same. But I mean, for us, it's like you're much more likely to go on a path somewhere. Meanwhile, I was tempted to go find and look actively for a vacation because I got this notification or an email basically saying, we can give you a 10% cashback if you book a vacation before the 20 whatever off, but only for the first amount of bookings. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that because I won't have time to do that before until I'm back from. So I'm going to be okay, not for me. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I was tempted last night, but I'm like, I can't book without knowing that I actually have somebody to replace me at work. And I don't want to be pushed into doing that straight away right now because there is no need. And I still need to get my vacation money from my bossy boss. They should technically be on their way. I should get them this week. I have get vacation money and I get salary. And I'll feel rich for a few days. 4, 6, 8, and 10 with that one. So meanwhile, I've cracked on a bit longer, and I know it's there, but it's kind of okay. It's sort of semi disappearing. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, we have all seen those pictures from the 70s. Everybody was hairy back then. The hippies, long hair and everything. Like back in the days where you had to look at the shape to try to help assess if it was a man or a woman. I think even my dad had long hair at one stage. I recall. I've seen a photo. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he also had long hair back in the 70s. If my mom is still here, she would be able to tell me. Not that she met him in the 70s, but she's probably seen a photo. Cheers. Don't forget to hydrate. I had short hair for a long time. It's only within the last, 8 years or so, 9 years, that I've grown it back long. And now it's more like a convenience, because the downside of short hair is you need to visit the hairdresser relatively often. I have the same here. Freaking fuck's sake. Are we getting to a point where I need to consider frocking it regardless? I would be really sad. Now we are gonna, I really have to check the rest, because here I have an extra chain too. And I mean, it's semi-visible, but not completely. It kind of does get snugged in a bit, but... Ooh, I'm not happy. I made 2 mistakes in one row. Like, come on. Here again, 3. That's good, that's good. Good. Ugh. Right now I'm not a happy camper, so I'm really checking them all, because I have 3 mistakes already. I don't... I may want to frog this. I'm like it's 3 mistakes. It's not just 1. This was also the time where period with bathing more than once a week was seemed decent excess. True. My parents were stoner hippies that lived in a Fort Econovan. Oh, cool! Like they were living in a camper hippie group. My mom says she has seen a photo of my dad with shoulder long hair, so he has had long hairs. My dad had long hairs when he was younger, in his 20s, like teens, 20s. Back in the 70s, at least. I am checking. So far, it is only that one last side where I somehow regularly have skipped doing it correctly. And therefore, I am actually inclined to fix it, because I think that's not just one mistake covering up. It is many mistakes I'm trying to cover up. I'm just checking, because now I know where my issue lays. Well, that's good. That's good. Goody, 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 goody. Everything else looks good. It's like I started slacking towards the end. Everything else is good. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Sorry for my language. I mean, that's how it should be. Correct. 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 There are 3 this. Correct. 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 Mistake. I am not a happy camper. So that's 1. And then I have 1 where I am right now. So this is correct, correct, correct. Correcty, correcty. Mistake plus the one we had over there. Which means that I technically need to frog back. Yeah. No, it's 3 mistakes. If it's 1, I can sort of, but 3? I don't think 3 is okay. So it's froggy time. Because apparently Stina makes extra stitches. I have 3 extra stitches I don't need. Oh, that's not working. Was sort of working what I was doing. I'm trying to wind it back up on my yarn winder. And this is exactly why I don't weave in ends until a few rows later. I know it hurts. It hurts as much for me as it does for you. Oh no 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 no. Also not. I know, Lisa, but I know 3 extra stitches. I'm not gonna try to see if I can cover that up. That is what happened when we last time got so focused. I think that's generally what happened. We got super focused last time on trying to finish before the end of the stream, and then I just started making mistakes. The good thing is that previous row, it's a reasonably quick row at least, and I didn't get too far in until I decided to check it all. And what we have learned from this is next time I'm in the same sort of lace row, filet row, then I need to double check that I don't do extra stitches, because there's basically it is chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, but every so many stitches, like here down the tips, I skip 2, but I don't do a chain in between. And that's what I'm doing. Like I'm adding extra chains to where I don't need to add them. So yeah, it's painful, but it is a necessity because I feel that covering up 3 mistakes is too many. Like covering up 1 might go, but covering up 3, and it starts getting obvious. So I'm not doing that. So now I'm just we are getting there. Not that far to go. No, no. At least there was not a cake change or something like that in between all this. I mean, and now I need to flip the work back around. And I need to pay attention because we're almost there. Yep. So, what happened? Look, that happened. As you may see, we added a bit of a, I didn't do it nicely, but I did add it up because at least then it won't like not too much, I guess. And here, instead of doing a chain, which I'm really inclined to do, I need to just skip 2 stitches and do a double crochet. And then we are back into the chain, skip, double crochet, chain, skip, double crochet. Yeah. That was annoying. But I mean, perfectionist is kind of my middle name. I want to make sure it is abso-freaking-lutely good. Yeah, it hurts more for me, definitely. And yeah, I was frocking it, definitely. And welcome back, Megan. Meanwhile, Susan says she has to go out soon. Bye, everyone. Take care, Susan. I hope to see you next week when I'm back. I will be back on Wednesday for those curious. The weekend we are, as the Sunday, we are gonna have a, not Sunday, Friday. We're having a yarn talk video on Monday. I will be sorting more stash and stacking it on Ravelry, stashing it. And then Wednesday we will be back with another live. Same time, same place. Rev says it's just yarn, not a marble mistakes. It's fixable. Yep, it is. That's why we're kind of like doing it here, I guess. We're fixing my mistakes. Right? Skip without a chain. I can do that. I think it's because it gets so easy to get into that flow. And therefore subconsciously you you just do it because a lot of the stitches does have a chain between them. So when you lose focus of you want to do it too quick, and I think that's often where for me it goes wrong, is if I get like, okay, it would be awesome if we can finish this today before the end of the stream, and then I go into this like try to speed up things mode. But reality is just many times when I do, I make mistakes, so I really shouldn't. I need to be much more in zen with it takes the amount of time it is going to take. And that, my friend, is realistic. Lisa says, I don't think you're a perfectionist, you just know what you can hide. Yeah, well, this was like border edge hideable, if that makes sense. But it would require effort. Like, I'm afraid it would come out in the blocking. Too visible. And then I'd rather have 3 in one row having that. Yeah, I'm on an easy round just doing grannies into the chain space of a front post double crochet V-stitches. So I have stitch marker I'm moving up as I double check every granny has 3 stitches. Good plan. Because the count here matters as it's penultimate round of this color and any mistakes would be noticeable. Oh yes, because if you're changing color, that would be even more ends to weave in. And then if you need to frog that, like, oh my freaking nightmare. No, 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 no. Make sure it's correct. Triple check in worst case, especially because the bigger it gets, the more annoying it gets when you need to do it anew. That is my thoughts. So there was about to do the extra stitch, which I didn't do, but I was close. Paying attention is the key, and I should know that. By foreign means, anyhow. I mean, I just frogged. I'm up to 50 granny clusters plus 6 double crochets per side. So 150 plus 6, 156 stitches. Do you want to change with my 1400 per row? I mean, Lisa says, so you have like 200 stitch markers on the project? Who knows? We shall know. I guess there are different levels of use of stitch markers, if that's the case. 9. But I mean, 200 stitch markers on every 3 stitches, that would be excessive. Eight in the corners, marking the first and the last. One I keep floating as a check count. Okay. So what's for dinner today? Here and there. Here I'm gonna fry some chicken. Or fry. I'm throwing it on a pan. It is spiced with some, well, they say kebab, but I'm not really sure what sort of spice it is. But it tastes okay. Oh, frick, I almost did that again. No extra chains, my friends. I would be really sad if I come back and I would have to frog it again because I made the same mistakes. That would be stupid. And then salad and veggies and, you know, like just a chicken salad basically is what we're gonna go with today. All healthy and green. We had Wiener schnitzels yesterday. Lisa says it makes sense with fewer stitch markers at least. I'm making the teriyaki chicken rice bowl again as the wife likes taking sandwiches her first 2 days in the office and leftovers for the third. Makes good sense. I did eat leftovers yesterday of the pasta for lunch. It just felt sad to throw out when I could also just as well eat that for lunch, what was left over. Lisa says, we are apparently having chicken. I'm making creamy chipotle chicken, Mexican rice, and cucumber salad. That sounds good. Chicken seems to be the key word of today. 1, 2, 3 chickens has already died for us so that we could get food on the table. Unless the teriyaki you're making is a beef teriyaki. Oh no, you said chicken teriyaki, so teriyaki chicken. So no, it's chicken. 1, 2, 3 chickens has died. So apparently a bunch of black bears is being released from harvesting some sort of gallbladder thingy in South Korea. Because South Korea has now made a rule that it is no longer allowed to make medicines from these black bears. And they are thus being rescued and being distributed amongst zoos across the world. And there is a zoo in Denmark also getting a couple of these black bears, and now you have all those activists writing if they would also then take the 5 million pigs that there are on farms in Denmark because they live under the same circumstances as those bears did in South Korea, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, be realistic. Of course, the zoo can't take those. And don't tell me you aren't eating bacon yourself. Like, come on. I do very much believe in it would be great if animals could get much more natural ways of living and living circumstances. I also believe the meat tastes better. But I also understand that that is not always possible because there's also a specific demand. And if the supply can't handle it, and also what we also not forget, the better circumstances the animals get, everything gets more expensive, which is fair because it costs more, but then not everybody can afford it. And then we go back to supply and demand. And if there is a demand for cheaper meat, it is difficult to prevent that not happening, because if you in a country then totally shuts down for the opportunity to produce a little bit cheaper version of the meat, then the alternative, what will happen is that the production will stall and halter and only produce the amount of demand there is for the better tasting meat, in the sense of the more better higher quality meat. But the lower quality meats will still likely be imported by the stores because they will still have customers demanding a cheap minced meat, just to say an example, right? For their pasta or whatever they eat. So bottom line is that while that would be the perfect way of doing things, it's just not reality of doing it. And I can get really annoyed these days when I then read stories and the only I see is replies from these activists being like, oh, but they should then do this and this, and why don't they do that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why are you even spending time? Because you're not realistically thinking about things. And don't tell me half of those activists are living how they preach, because I don't believe that. It's their choice to be vegan, and it's my choice not to be exactly that. This. Oh, so the good thing is about frocking is we have a color change, which we had Monday, but now we have them again. Color change is right here, my friends. That's a fun fact. But yeah. I mean, we knew that was coming. I swear PETA is a fist up to discredit legitimate animal rights organizations. Oh, probably. But I mean, yeah, you need to be reasonable. You know, I get there are reasons for why, for example, that the show is kept in somewhat smaller quarters with like clear metal bars where the height is in a level where the piglets can get under but not the sow. And the reason for that is if she would just roam free, a bunch of piglets would actually die a very horrible death by being laid upon by their mother. And what is then better? Like, like, would you rather have the mother live freely and free roaming and then lose half the piglets to the unavoidable death because Mama Sow doesn't always just check before she crushes down to nurse her piglets? Um, there is definitely a certain risk with that. There is also what you can see with those pigs living outdoors, and I definitely are very keen for those who say, well, they let them live outdoor, they don't have nose rings, they help till the earth and free weeds and so on. It has to be like a small ecosystem, but I also get that if you need to mass produce, it's just not possible. There is to some extent then a limitation. You know, we don't have vast grasslands. Like, I guess then we all need to go to Texas. They're so damn stupid and self-sabotaging. Yep, for sure. So that is this what I feel right now is that we didn't really do that much today because we spent time frocking. Now we are finally getting, but it's wrong. We did do stuff today. That is a wrong feeling there, my friend. So what I'm probably gonna do tonight is I will finish up that skein for the vest. And then otherwise work on this heart collectors. Lisa believes PETA is a terrorist organization. Who knows? Rev says onto the ultimate row of this royal blue, and it's a quick one, single crochets in every stitch, and then chain 2 single crochet in the corners. That does sound like a nice and fast row indeed. Absolutely. We like quick stuff. 1, 2. I'm at a place where quick's not in the vocabulary anymore. It's replaced with slow, long, many stitches. PETA also cowards notice they would throw paint at old ladies wearing fur, but bigger gang wearing leather, a biker gang wearing leather, they would not dare. Yeah, true. I don't luckily think we have that many PETA people here. We just have the keyboard warriors, you know, those who comment on everything they find is unreasonable. Lisa lives in an agricultural area. So far, they haven't really had presence here, but I could see them utterly destroying the lives of honest ranchers that treat their animals well. Exactly. But reality is, these extremists, they want all of the animals to be wild again. No domesticated animals. No cats, no dogs, no nothing. And if all these pets are going to be released into the wild, what will happen? They will definitely die, because especially with, let's go back into pigs, sheep, goats, and cows, cattle, they have over the years been raised for specific purposes. And some of them can't even, like, they will struggle if they just get turned into the wild. And a really good example of this, and that, my friends, I think is absolutely, like, that is where I would say maybe one needs to consider if that animal should be continually bred. There is a specific breed of cattle. It's called a Belgian Blue. It's a very, very big cow, a beef. And this bovine is having apparently like a double muscle layer. So it has excessive muscle. And the cows cannot, in 90% of the time, calve themselves. That means the only way to get the calves out of the cow is by cesarean. And after a certain amount of cesareans, the cow obviously cannot get any more cesareans, because, you know, the whole side of it has just been opened with cesareans as they get calves. That, I think, is probably a place where one would think maybe we should not breed those. Maybe that should just be prohibited. Because how can that be animal welfare, that the cow has been developed in a such way it cannot naturally give birth on its own? Like, that's kind of where I think we have issues. Even domesticated animals should be able to give birth or lay eggs or whatever they're doing on their own. They should not need human intervention. I get that you have animals that will be able to, from like, and sometimes have issues, and of course they should be helped. But I mean, why keep breeding on animals that cannot self endure? Like, Peter also runs the highest killer shelter in the USA with about 80% kill rate. That's crazy. Domesticated animals would die if they were turned out. Indeed, they would. Even normal cows often need help calving. The calves need to be pulled out often. That's true. At least later, more and more often. And I think I question myself also if that's also a development that's come, because especially within beef, right, that there is this desire of getting more and more quote unquote meat. But yeah. Yeah. Quite a lot of food animals need human intervention at one stage or another of reproduction. Or just growing up, like, you know, those Cornish cross chickens, which basically do nothing than eat, sleep, and repeat, and grow to adulthood in, I don't know, 9 weeks or 10 weeks or something, or 12 weeks. And then they get slaughtered because they're nice, fat, and juicy, but they can barely walk because that they are so thick and heavy that their muscles can't really handle it. That's sad as well. That I also think should not be okay. Like, That's kind of, I guess, more my way of being against things. Like, be realistic. Turkeys need to be artificially what YouTube will censor. Because the males have too much meat to reach the females. Okay, I did not know that. I did not know that. Wow. Yeah, that's also crazy. So basically, we should stop eating turkey for Thanksgiving. No turkey anymore. Nope, nope, nope. I did not know that. I'm just checking, but so far, we're doing good. I guess I learned something new today about turkeys. Most cattle are also using artificial means to impregnate, as the bulls can cause injury to the cows. True. The same goes for the horse world these days, with exceptions like thoroughbreds, at least if they're racing thoroughbreds. That is also only by standing stud, because they are so expensive that the owner needs to be exactly sure that they are actually getting what they're paying for. I think the problem lies with when people don't realize where the food comes from. Oh yes, Lisa, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. My goodness. That's true. That is true. You know, I think for me it's been a help that when I grew up as a child, my granddad had a farm, a small one, but he basically had everything on the farm, right? Sort of one of each, not completely, but um, there was most things: geese, duck, chickens, horse. He had a few pigs and so on. And genuinely, I kind of appreciate knowing that. I was also a part of it when they were slaughtering chickens for the winter and when the autumn for the soup and stuff like that. Um, or ducks for Christmas. So I know where it comes from. Um, but I also know that there are definitely a lot of people being a lot less aware of how things actually are done. And especially those that's not aware think, oh my goodness, if we just completely stop doing that, then everybody's going to be happy. But yeah, hey, it's basically being like, I like to have sausage on my piece of bread, and then being, but I don't want pigs to live, but the sausage are made of pig, but you don't realize that. So pigs can't no longer be kept on farms. But yeah, where do you then get your sausage from? Rev used to work in a butcher's shop. Okay, so Revenant knows all the good cuts. Yep, all the commercial farms are artificial these days, for sure. With all the mass producing farms, I think would be very correct to say, right? I'm sort of semi knotting my yarn. What happened here? Inserting stitch marker to save before I ruin. I'm not completely sure what happened. But we are solving. There we are. Our best friends owns a butcher shop. Ah. Another one is a cattle farmer. Yeah. I guess it's unavoidable if you are living in agricultural lands. At some stage, you will eventually have connection with other butchers or farmers, right? And the way people would get super squeamish when you were wearing an apron that was stained with red from working with the meat they were about to buy was freaking hilarious, which is also kind of ridiculous. Oh my goodness, there is blood on the meat. Surprise. We have slaughtered our own meat many times, and we make sure our kids help and are aware when their meat comes from and how to treat animals with respect. I think that's a key word. Be aware where they come from. Try to give the animals the best possible circumstances to live in. And the better the circumstances, often the better the taste of the meat. I would be surprised if even any medium-sized breeding facility was using natural means to breed their livestock. And then we can also discuss what is considered medium-sized, because obviously there is a very different belief and experience to that, depending on where you are in the world. In Europe, there has been, I think some of those regulations has been lifted, but there was at some stage some really big regulations as to how many head of cattle you could have. For example, for a milking herd, you could only have so many cattle or produce that amount of milk. And people sometimes would then have to slaughter good cows because they were suddenly producing too much. But those limitations or quotas has been more or less lifted, I believe. So the regulation is a lot more free. But I believe that then has caused some of these to overgrow themselves and become a lot bigger. Actually, the blood is drained when animals are slaughtered, as it will accelerate the composition of the meat, so the red liquid is actually just protein. Yeah, but it's still red, and it looks like blood. So I can understand the relation if you don't know better. But it is still ironic not to believe that meat isn't red or has had anything to do with blood at some stage. Well, my cattle farmer friend has about 100 head, and he does it natural. Yeah, but I would consider 100 head like medium-ish. But of course, it's a small operation compared to many other cattle farms. But in my optics, that's bordering medium. Yep. But in the States and in Canada, I get that's pretty small. But over here, that's actually a fair amount of cattle. So that's why I'm trying to like grasp what's considered realistic. So my father's adoptive father had a farm, and he also had milking cows, and they actually had a steer. But I don't think that they had like lots of cows. I don't know, 50, 70 oddish head maybe at best. I don't think they were at 100. It's so long ago, and I barely remember. He passed away when I was like 3. Um, I mean, I think it's quite limited. I mean, 50 to 100 head size of cat could be non-commercial. Yeah, here you would definitely be expected to ear tag them and be registered as a farmer, blah, blah, blah. So that would already, on that note, be commercial. Like, you can't even own a single cattle without having them tagged. We call the red liquid meat juice. Yep. But we don't have a huge calibrations like you guys have down there. They are regulated as to how many they can have. Similar to Europe. This. My great grandparents had a small farm in PA. They had a herd of cows that was in the 50 to 100 range. Okay. But yeah, also what was smaller back then definitely has increased a lot in size since, as the regulations has changed somewhat. I believe the latest crazy things they have done in Denmark is to slap on a CEO like CO2 tax on beef because of the methane gas of the manure, and basically you like pay extra taxes now on your cows. Ridiculous. That of course also causes meat to get even more expensive. That doesn't help. Because a lot of people now choose to say, well, it's not as profitable as it used to be, so we don't do it, and the others that's left will have a higher demand. Henceforth, prices increase. Hello, Jan, for more. Welcome to this live. Hope you're having a good day. By the time I was a tyke, they had to try it and rent their fields out to other farmers in the area. Yeah. You know, I always said when I was a child that I wanted to take all my granddad's farm, but reality is just a size farm of that size you probably couldn't survive on today unless you do some sort of like YouTube commercial farming thing and have your main income from the YouTube world. Then maybe that would be possible. But I mean, outside of that, probably not so. Jan Vermoe, I am working on the Heart Collector Shawl right now, and I am from the Netherlands, so it is almost 5 p.m. here, which means that we are getting closer to the end of the stream. I am just about back to where we had to frog back because I found that I had made 3 extra stitches, and I could not grasp the thought of trying to cover up those mistakes in the following row, so I decided to frog. And here we are. I almost caught up, which is awesome. And then I have earlier today been working on the back panel of the waistcoat. I do believe this row is 2, 3 finish. Give me 1 second, please. 2 and 3 indeed. It is 2. Then in this last stitch we have 3 double crochets. I will get to a let show point. I just need to finish these 3 stitches. Not that it's a big difference from Monday, because we're at the same point where we ended Monday. Thank you for frocking. Irony may occur. Jan Vermoe is from India. It is 8:30 p.m. I crochet and knit. Well, I also crochet and knit. I mainly crochet, but I can knit. And here it is 5 p.m. which means that we are gonna give a little show of this. So we'll pop this camera up and we'll pop this one up to my maybe pretty face. And I am gonna get out of my chair and push it a bit to the side, because then I can actually show this masterpiece. We are about 14 stitches on a full row. The only difference between Monday when we finished and today is I actually weaved in 2 ends and frogged and got back to the same place. This is where we are. The Heart Collectors, sure, we can't really be in the frame anymore because it's too big. Or just, nah, right? Which is absolutely awesome when we get to the, like, I can imagine this is gonna look good. You can like imagine it really, you can like really take it out on top. Ta-ta! Now it just needs length, so it covers more of the shoulders. That's another thought of it. I have 3 cakes, so when this is done, there's 3,000 meters of yarn on it. And it's going into lighter and lighter colors. This is the Hobby yarn, Hobby Twister in the color Rhubarb and Cream. And we have the cream in the very center. We start with this mauve color. And then I had a very little bit of solid color, which is the same solid color that is used in one of the transitions here. But just in a full solid up here as the center heart. And it is gorgeous. It's 10 a.m. in Canada and as well as 10 a.m. in Texas. Yarn for More is my channel name. Shall keep in mind. Thank you, thank you. It is gorgeous, for sure. The other project we worked on today is the back piece of the 10-27 waistcoat from Drops Design. Horrible pattern to read, but this is where we are after. I need to have the right screen so I can easily see what I'm doing. This is where we are for that bit. And I need to increase again because now we kind of like made room for the arms. Now I need to slowly increase for some width. I do feel though, I don't know if I should make another stitch. I'm like, it seems short, but it does increase with 3 more rows. I wonder if I should be clever and have my partner measure me from on the back side of the back up to the top of my shoulder so I know the distance I have. That will probably be a good idea. That's what is left in the cake, the skein that I'm currently working with. Getting closer though. That's pretty much what we did today. Keeping track of stuff here. And Megan says it's coming up beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Lisa's in Manitoba, just barely, only 10 miles away from North Dakota. She is indeed in the very southern bit of Canada, in the center somewhere. But yeah, guys, it's 5 p.m., which means that it's time for me to close down for the day because I need to cook dinner and I need to prep and a bunch of other things. Oh my goodness, that time flies, huh? So I'm super happy that we had to spend some time together. I will be back on Friday with a yarn talk video. Then on Monday we'll have another Sort My Stash series. We are also stashing that on Ravelry. Currently we are about 10 years into my current stash, so I need to live another 10 years at least, hopefully longer. And then I will be back Wednesday with another live. So Wednesday around 2 p.m. Central European time. So 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, etc. For the India time next week, I would probably start my stream around 5:30 p.m. but that would be about the time difference if I can quickly calculate your current time from what that would be for us. It was wonderful seeing you all. Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you so much for the subscriptions. I love you all. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, like, and share. And I will see you either in my next video or next week, Wednesday. Take care, and we will have lots of talk about next week, Wednesday. Love you all. Bye.